FreeWheel, I mean, you guys sort of were, the dominant premium video ad server with your MRM products and everything. The Comcast acquisition occurred, last year. I mean, what are you at a point in time? Because your aspirations are much more than just being a video ad server, right? Like, what's your trajectory right now as a business?
So, for us, actually, the vision is the same as when the company was founded. So our goal, and we're continuing to push on this in 2015, is to enable the premium cable nets, broadcasters, MVPDs, those that have premium video, to be able to increasingly unify their inventory and their campaigns and be able to plan, forecast, manage ad rights, ad serve, report and account at that regardless of screen, and do that at scale. So we're continuing, since the acquisition from Comcast, just to accelerate our efforts to be able to support our very focused client base in achieving that goal.
Okay. And when we talk about convergence, what does that mean to you guys? Is convergence just the sort of distribution of derivative content from the first screen or television onto pure digital platforms like mobile or the web? Or, where does VOD fit in that mix? Like, what's your set of optics on the marketplace right now?
I would say convergence is nearly as bad a word as programmatic.
Or engagement.
Exactly.
Engagement too.
But for us really, the consumer sees TV as TV. An episode of Family Guy is the same regardless of where you watch it. And I think someone made a comment earlier around the need to reaggregate that audience. And our goal is to enable the publishers to reaggregate that audience. So set-top box becomes a really important component of that. In our opinion, it's both one of the largest amounts of untapped long-form premium content that there is to monetize, number one. And number two, it's an exceptionally safe environment where you're sitting on your sofa in a lean-back experience, watching on a large 55-inch screen, and therefore it's viewable. So our goal is to be able to create and own the living room, whereby we're enabling our publishers to be able to equally monetize their set-top box VOD inventory through dynamic ad insertion, as well as their connected device over-the-top inventory, which we think is actually massively under-monetized right now. Across our data sets, about 25% of total ad viewing or video viewing is taking place on non-desktop environments, yet the monetization of those environments is less than it probably should be, despite the fact it is arguably much safer and more viewable. And that comes down to, again, to challenges in how that gets monetized.
So you guys produced your monetization report sort of the fourth quarter. It's, year over year, I think it was like 528% growth from a base that wasn't so substantial, to Tracy's point, right? But what percentage of premium video viewing right now is occurring on mobile?
So off desktop, it's around 27%.
Okay.
And the greatest growth is coming from OTT devices.
That's in the US, to be specific.
In the US, exactly. Mobile is over 100% growth year over year. But again, similar challenges with mobile as there is with connected devices. But I think a lot of the growth in the non-desktop viewing is actually coming on OTT, and the reason for that is the marquee sports events that have happened over the last couple of years, whether it be the Olympics, the World Cup, or others. We saw, I think last year, over 200% growth in live viewing. And I think consumers are getting educated about the ability to either simulcast their viewing or watch their premium content across other devices in live streams. That brings with it its own challenges of being able to kind of monetize those live stream environments, but I think we're going to see a lot more of that this year as well.
So, I want to ask a really direct question in a non sort of adversarial way or confrontational way, but the reality is that you are now owned by Comcast, right? So how do you maintain that, and I want to talk about the integration, the organization, because you're part of the platform now, right? So how do your clients manage the balance between the same party that is FreeWheel, that technology solution, is helping them optimize revenue and ensure they're driving their advertising P&L for video, right? Which is ever increasingly more important because your parent has a larger percentage of ownership of the total distribution base, so that there's going to be subscriber revenue price pressure. How are you managing that in the marketplace? Because there's a lot of noise around it, right? So as from an organization, the culture, how you've integrated a Comcast, like how are you dealing with that?
The answer is pretty simple. we're being run as a fiercely independent, standalone business, and there's precedent there with Comcast, with the other businesses that they've acquired. Strata being one example. Most people don't even know it's owned by Comcast, and I think the key for us, and one of the reasons that the acquisition made a ton of sense for us, is because Comcast realizes that our value is in supporting the TV ecosystem to be able to maintain the business models, the integrity, and the growth of that ecosystem. And Comcast is a kind of key part of that. So we're being run as a separate unit. We are just continuing to be funded in a way that enables us to accelerate our goal of helping our clients kind of unify their inventory and campaigns at scale. And I think our clients understand that it's in the collective interest for us to be that, as you said, with your kind introduction at the beginning, that kind of leading tech company that is supporting a very focused set of clients to grow and unify their inventory.
So I'm not going to ask you to talk on behalf of the platform, right? But if you talk about, like, if you holistically talk about an integrated end-to-end solution or a stack, right, which is what Comcast is aspiring to build. I'll speak on behalf of Comcast in this conversation. That's what I've at least read and I've inferred, right? So you talk about an integrated stack as a solution, which we don't really have in linear or in VOD. It's all kind of been piecemeal, right? And you look at, the eventuality of what that means. The X1 platform is still a very small base, right? It's built off of the dovetailing off of the capabilities of that platform, which is still only 10% of like Comcast's footprint right now. How much is realizing the potential of your platform tied to what the installed technology is at the household level in the set-top box itself? Like, how closely are you sort of relying upon realizing the aspiration of what you're promising to premium video publishers on that actual hardware that gets in the household? Yeah.
Well, just to be clear, clarify one point. We're not integrated with the platform or any of the other the tech partners.
Thank you for clarifying that.
We're not. We're again a separate, fiercely independent company, and
when I say integrated, I just mean I'm assuming the technology is integrated, not necessarily the business.
No,
but
again, we're an open platform where we work with all at least with the platform, we work with all the other OVP players, and that's really, really important for FreeWheel if we're able to kind of continue to advocate for our client base.
Okay.
So, but in terms of where we are, in terms of being able to monetize set-top box, VOD inventory, and others, in 2015, I think you're going to see the ball move there for the first time.
Okay.
Again, it's been one of those things that's been talked about for many times, but I think there's incredible pressure from both the publishers wanting to be able to effectively monetize that to get the scale they want, and for the buy side who is looking for an increasing amount of premium video content, as a lot of the exposure of fraud and other bad activities that were going on is starting to make the supply of premium video even tighter, and therefore having to combine dynamic digital video inventory with set-top box inventory becomes really important this year.
But is the hardware that sits in the living room critical for the ability to deploy, if we just talk about VOD, like real ubiquitous uniform dynamic ad insertion?
We're technically there, ready to go.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Thanks, James. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.